Go for it.
Okay, I'm sure we've all seen those amazing geniuses and prodigies able to pick up something and then immediately show a high level of mastery in just a little while. Well, we may not be able to accomplish the same exact feats as them, but I think it's possible to do something similar. Now, what we need to discuss is three important things: how to get started, the research needed, and the motivation when both of those two fail you. Now, going back to the topic at hand, the topic refers to the thing that you need interest in. You need to find that, obviously, so that you can start. Now, the second thing you need to do when getting started is getting a basic level of familiarity. Because starting something and immediately trying to find the practice or immediately trying to motivate yourself to do it is one of the fastest ways to lead to burnout. So what I advise is to get just a basic understanding of it. Like, let's say you're trying to learn basketball, playing a couple games with friends would just be the perfect way to do it. Now, after you get yourself familiarized with the subject and after you get yourself the subject to do, what the next important thing is research. The first point of research, which I think is the most important, is finding the highest level of content available, or a teacher for you to copy and emulate. The next thing that I advise is to find your practice routines. See how that teacher got to where they were, what they practiced, the foundation skills needed. Let's say you're trying to learn marching. The best thing you would need to do is march routines, the form, the cadence, and just basic stamina management. And now the final thing that I think is important when doing research is finding the important primary and secondary tools that you need. Primary tools would be, if you're doing basketball, the best example would be a ball and a court, obviously. And secondary tools would be, for another thing, such as pianos, would be your music sheets, any apps that could help you find your rhythm, or those stickers that you'd put on the key so you know the notes. And honestly, after a while, you're gonna come to the point where you either forget why you did it in the first place, or find yourself at a point that you cannot improve. But I think this is when the most important thing about teaching yourself something, motivation, comes into play. Now, reminding yourself why you started in motivation is important because after a while you forget, and then you just keep doing it and doing it and doing it until you get yourself stuck. Now, when you remind yourself why you started, you then realize where you're trying to go, and then you can get to it. Then the next thing to remember is, if you're stuck right now, that isn't a problem. That is to be expected and it's natural. And the final thing that you need to remember when you're trying to motivate yourself is that embracing failure is the best thing, because we've all failed, we will always fail, and even when you get to as far as you can go, failure will always happen, which is fine. Now, this video is highly edited by me, but it perfectly it perfectly shows what I want y'all to see.
Hey you guys, I have been playing the violin for 2 years and I want to show you guys my progress video. So I recorded videos from week 1 until today.
Now, I'd end the video because I'm running short on time, but the things that I find that you need to remember when you're trying to teach yourself something is that starting anything can be easier than you expect. And whenever you're in doubt of what you're doing, you can always fall back to the research that you've used to get to where you're going. And the final thing is that No matter what happens, you can always get to what you're trying to do. Just keep yourself motivated and keep going. Now, thank you all for listening.